Let the good times roll. We are headed to New Orleans. It is the 2025 Louisiana Derby, and here we go. We are in the home stretch for the 2025 Kentucky Derby. This race is one of the first that awards 100 points to the winner. And what does that mean? The winner is guaranteed a spot in the starting gate for the 2025 Kentucky Derby. Facts and figures are going to give you the winning edge. I give you the stats, you make the picks. Hi, it's Maura from Trifecta and a little bit extra. And 10 horses are ready to battle it out to get into that starting gate in the Kentucky Derby. This is one of their last chances to do so. Oh, and by the way, it's a true test of stamina. None of these horses have run the mile and 3/16 distance. I'm going to go through all 10 horses. I promise there are some really good long shots in this lineup, but you don't have time to go through all 10. That's okay. I'm now a podcast on YouTube Music. Take me anywhere you want to go, or just slide to the horse you're most interested in. I've got timestamps below. Now let's start with some angles for this race. I've looked at the last 10 runnings of the race, and there are some clear angles that we want to pay attention to when we're evaluating these horses. Out of the last 10 winners, 6 have been on or near the lead. That's something you're going to want to pay attention to. Now, it's okay if you like a closer or a horse that's mid-pack. We've had 2 that were mid-pack and 2 that were closers. In fact, last year's winner, Catching Freedom, came from way, way, way in the back. So if you think the pace is going to heat up, and it does look like it's going to be a hot pace on Saturday, then you definitely need to play your closers to at least hit the board, if not win. Second, you need to upgrade if the horse was in the Risen Star. 5 of the last winners have been in the Risen Star. Doesn't mean they need to have won the Risen Star, just was in the race. And we've got some contenders coming out of the Risen Star. Also, if you were not in a Derby prep race, you must have won that race. And finally, we're going to upgrade if your trainer is named Steve Asmussen or Todd Pletcher. Steve has 4 winners and Todd has 5, and they have contenders in this race. Let's get started with the number 1 horse, John Hancock. And this is a horse I'm really excited to see get back on the track. To me, he's a top contender in the race. Let's start with his connections, Brad Cox and Flavien Prat. Together, they have a whopping 40% win rate. And Flavien Prat, he's won this race in the last 2 runnings. He was on Catching Freedom last year. Oh, and let's talk about Brad Cox at the Fairgrounds. 30% win rate goes up to 35% for 3-year-olds on the dirt. He's winning 1 in every 3 races with 3-year-olds on the dirt at the Fairgrounds. How can you ignore that? John Hancock, he's by constitution, and he's got 2 wins, 2 starts, both at Tampa Bay Downs. He starts his career as a 3-year-old, just like my favorite horse, Justify. In a 6-furlong maiden race at Tampa Bay Downs, he wins by 3. Then he goes to the Sam F. Davis, and boy, did he put on a show that day. 1 16 miles around the track. He goes right to the lead. He's battling Owen Almighty around the track. They set a blazing hot pace. And did John Hancock tire? Did he back down? Oh no, he won by half a length. And you have to upgrade that race because Owen Almighty just won the Tampa Bay Derby. Now, I really like the front running style. That's one of the angles we said we have to watch out for. But he will have company up at the front with Furio and Yinzer, built in Caldera. His 84 buyer, mid-pack, but that's okay. He's only had 2 career starts. There is lots of upside here. Now we have to ask ourselves, can he get the distance? He's by leading sire Constitution. Now, Constitution himself, he topped out at 1 1/8 miles in the Florida Derby, but his top progeny, Tiz the Law, he won the Travers at 1 4 miles. His dam, however, Scribbling Sarah, she's known for more of the shorter distances. So John Hancock will need to prove himself at this distance. But let's not forget, he was entered in the Virginia Derby, and he's coming here instead to the Louisiana Derby. Brad Cox must think he has a live horse in this field, and I feel he's a true contender. You want a shiny jewel that knows his way around the track? Superpower is closing speed, came in 2nd in the Risen Star. Check one of our angles. Look no further than the number 2 horse, Chunk of Gold. He's trained by Ethan West and will be ridden by Jared Lovebury. And Jared Lovebury is a top jockey at the Fairgrounds. That's an angle I would also use. Ethan West, this is his first time with a potential Kentucky Derby runner. The race starts, 1 win, 2 places. This horse is consistent. He's always been on the board. His very first 2 starts came at Turfway on the synthetic. He wins a 6-furlong maiden race and then comes in second in a mile race. Then comes the Risen Star at 1 1/8 on the dirt here at the Fairgrounds. That was a race where he got in all sorts of trouble in a field of 12. He got brushed at the start, he got checked, he got shuffled, but somehow manages to have this huge rally and finish second to Magnitude. Now, nobody was beating Magnitude that day. Magnitude shook the earth. But Chunk of Gold, at 43-1, he shocked us all. And he got a 92 buyer, one of the best in this race. We know he's got some speed. We know he's got an amazing late kick in a race that looks like it's going to have a lot of pace to run into. But the question's going to be, can he get the distance? He's a $2,500, yes, a $2,500 purchase by Preservationist. Preservationist is known for having dirt routers, but his leading progeny, Antiquarian, he won 1 1/8 at the Peter Pan, but came in 6th in the Louisiana Derby. So can Chunk of Gold surprise us all again and win the Louisiana Derby? The number 3 horse is Tiztastic. And the angle he has, he's trained by Steve Asmussen. This horse is really consistent. 7 starts, 2 wins, 1 place, 2 shows. That means 5 times he has hit the board. Steve Asmussen is putting a new jockey on Tiztastic. He's getting Joel Rosario. And together, they won this race in 2022 with Epicenter. This horse is battle-tested in Kentucky Derby preps and graded stakes races. In the G3 Street Sense at Churchill Downs, he was bumped off the pace, but finishes second. Then he goes to the Kentucky Jockey Club. Good finish, finishes 3rd. Then goes to Oaklawn for the Southwest. He looked like he was out of it at the top of the stretch, but he just kept on coming and got 3rd. Then he goes to the G2 Rebel, also at Oaklawn, 1 1/16 distance. He was 4 wide. Then tries to get to the inside to save some ground, but finishes 5th with an 81 buyer. What I really like about Tiztastic is his late speed. He could be running down tired horses. And here at the Fairgrounds, he gets a longer stretch to run down. I wonder if that's why they're sending him here and not the Arkansas Derby. Now, I also like the fact he's got Steve Asmussen, he's been battle tested in these other Derby prep races, and he's consistent. He could be a very good horse to use underneath. Speaking of Steve Asmussen, one of the angles we're using, he's got the number 4 horse, Yinzer. Now, Yinzer will be ridden by Ben Curtis. Ben Curtis was the jockey on Magnitude the day he shook the earth in the Risen Star and went all the way home to the winner's circle. Now, Yinzer may be new to the Kentucky Derby Trail, but he's not new to the Fairgrounds. In his 4 starts, 3 were at the Fairgrounds at 1 1/16 distance, and he's got 1 win and 1 show. At 11-1, he dictated his last race. It was a $55,000 maiden race going 1 1/16, and he went gate to wire. Wins by 2, driving. But the field that he beat, very different class than what he's going to see here in the Louisiana Derby, and his speed ratings are a click below. If I have to choose between Tiztastic and Yinzer, because they're both Steve Asmussen horses and I want to use that angle, I would upgrade Tiztastic. The number 5 horse is Caldera, and shout out to all the MyRacehorse owners who own this horse. He's trained by Wayne Lukas, Hall of Famer Wayne Lukas, and will be ridden by Tyler Gaffleone. 4 starts, 1 win, 2 places. It took him 3 tries to break his maiden, but when he did, it was at Oaklawn Park in a $110,000 maiden race going 1 1/16, and Caldera went gate to wire, won by over 5 lengths. He goes to the Sunland Park Derby, also 1 1/16. In that race, he was mid-pack. He spots Getaway Car going around the second turn. He begins to battle Bob Baffert's Getaway Car. It is a grueling battle down the stretch. Caldera gets ahead of Getaway Car, but Getaway Car fought back and wins by a nose. So what do we think of Caldera? Well, his speed definitely puts him in the mix. Can he get the extra distance? He's by Liam's Map, and Liam's Map won at the 1 1/8, but his top progeny, Colonel Liam, he won at this distance. Now you have to ask yourselves, did that race at Sunland Park take a lot out of him? I mean, we look at Getaway Car. Getaway Car was just in the Virginia Derby, clear favorite, but tires and finishes 4th. Are we going to see the same from Caldera? Well, if you look at his workouts, he's been going 5 furlongs for 59 and change from that race. It doesn't seem like he's getting tired. He's someone that's going to be really dangerous on Saturday. The number 6 horse is Built, trained by Wayne Lukas. He gets the leading jockey at the Fairgrounds, Jose Ortiz. Now, this horse has some pluses and minuses for me. He's got 5 starts, 2 wins, 1 place, and 2 shows, and he has laid a foundation at the Fairgrounds. In the Gun Runner in December at 1 1/16, he was the clear winner that day. He won by 6 lengths, and he won against Magnitude. And we know what Magnitude came back and did in the Risen Star. Then he goes to the LeCompte, 1 1/16 on a sloppy track. Now, he grinded it out that day, coming in second behind Disco Time by a neck, but the buyers coming out of that race really low. Then he gets into the Risen Star, going 1 1/8 distance. Here, he was brushed at the start, he had to go wide, and he comes in 3rd behind Magnitude and Chunk of Gold. The minus, his notes say tired in that race, and I don't like to see tired when I know they're about to go the longer distance. The plus, he earned one of the top buyers in this field in that race. Can he get the extra distance? He's by Hardspun, and Hardspun did not win past the 1 1/8, but had a 2nd and 3rd place finish in the longer races of the Breeders' Cup Classic and the Preakness. Now, he's getting blinkers for the first time, and that can make this really interesting. Sometimes an equipment change like that, especially one that gets the horse to focus better during the race, can make all the difference. And he's got some really good workouts leading up to this race, so can build on that foundation that he already has here at the Fairgrounds and win the Louisiana Derby. The number 7 horse is Vassimo, and this is a horse I want you to pay attention to because he could be a really good long shot. First, he's coming out of the Risen Star. Check, 1 angle. Second, he's trained by Todd Pletcher. Check, check. And he'll be ridden by Irad Ortiz. 3 starts, 2 wins, and both of his wins say driving and drew clear, and that means he was full of run. He kicks things off at Gulfstream, $60,000 maiden race going a mile. And in that race, he wins by a length. Very solid effort. But the horse he beat, Rapture, just went to the Virginia Derby and finished 6th. So maybe not the strongest of competition. And unfortunately, Vassimo was disqualified for that win due to a positive test. He then goes into a $53,000 race at Tampa Bay Downs. This is his first time 2 turns, 1 mile and 40 yards. He was 4-5 favorite. He stalked the pace, very patient, locks on to the leader, wins. Then he comes to the Risen Star, 1 1/8 here at the Fairgrounds. Very odd race. He starts off really well. He's up to 3rd or 4th, but then he kind of fades back to 7th, but fights back and comes in 4th. I really don't know what to think about that race. But here's what I really like about Vassimo. 1, he's got some heart. I mean, we just saw it in the Risen Star. He battled back to get to 4th. He's got Todd Pletcher. He's got the Risen Star. And he's by Nyquist, who won the Kentucky Derby. So can Vassimo be a really good long shot on Saturday? The number 8 horse is Furio, trained by Joe Sharp. He'll be ridden by Luis Saez. 3 starts, 1 win, 1 place, and 1 show. First 2 starts were in 6 furlong maiden races. One was at Churchill Downs, where he came in 3rd. The second was here at the Fairgrounds, where he won by 4 lengths. Then he goes into an allowance race, 1 1/16 distance. He set the pace that day, but he was caught by the number 9 horse in this race, Instant Replay, and came in 2nd. Given the fact his speed ratings aren't really up to par, he's by McKenzie, and McKenzie only won at the 1 1/8 and has no progeny who has run at the longer distances, and that he didn't win his last race and it wasn't a Derby prep race, Furio is not one that would be on my card on Saturday. Speaking of Instant Replay, the number 9 horse is Instant Replay, and he's one of the other long shots I want you to look into. This horse is trained by Brad Cox and will be ridden by Florent Giroux, and together they have a 28% win rate. Now, we already covered Brad Cox's amazing stats with 3-year-olds on the dirt at the Fairgrounds. If you missed it, 35% win rate. This horse has 5 starts, 2 wins and 1 place. And he's got one of the top buyers at 92 with Built and Chunk of Gold. Although Instant Replay has not been in a Kentucky Derby prep race before, he's been competing against horses who have been on the Kentucky Derby trail, like Sandman and Publisher and California Burrito. His first win was 3 times out. It was a maiden race, and there he stalked the leaders. He then made a big, bold move and won by 8 lengths. Then he goes into a $130,000 allowance race at Oaklawn going a mile. There he went out early. He tried to challenge Big Boat, but unfortunately he fell back and finishes 4th. Then he goes down in class to a $53,000 allowance race, but longer distance, a mile and a 16th. Here, again, he's a little bit trailing early, but draws off and wins by 5. That was here at the Fairgrounds. So what do I really like about this horse? Like his connections. I like the fact he has a win at the Fairgrounds. I like the fact he has the 92 buyer. What am I worried about? The class. Is he ready to handle the likes of John Hancock and Built? And finally, we have the number 10 horse, Hypnus. Trained by Kenny McPeak, he'll be ridden by Brian Hernandez Jr., and this is your 2024 Kentucky Derby winning team. He's sired by Into Mischief, and this sire is one we are seeing all over the Kentucky Derby trail with leading contenders like Sovereignty and Barnes. He's only had 2 starts, and one had a lot of trouble. At the Fairgrounds, in a $60,000 maiden race going a mile and a 16th, he was off the pace. He rallies, he splits his foes, and he wins, but that was on a sloppy track. Then he goes to the Rebel at Oakland Park, mile and a 16th. And in that race, he was 8th or 9th at the start. The pace was super hot, going 22-2 for the first quarter. He then tried to make a run at it. He was trying to get in between foes like he did in that first race, but they weren't having it, and he finished off the board. Now, if you look at that last race and you believe all that trouble made the world a difference and he would have done better in the Rebel, then he may be your horse. But for me, I'm looking at other contenders in this race. Now it's your turn. Tell me who you like in the Louisiana Derby. I really want to hear from you. Drop me a comment below. Hit like, hit subscribe. Don't miss out on the last weeks of my Kentucky Derby coverage. There is so much more to come. But most of all, sashay away with your money. Good luck on Saturday. Cheers.